Welcome back and thank you for keeping it NTV. You are still watching NTV Weekend Edition. Now this week, the Uganda Business and Technical Examinations Board, UBTEB, unveiled these quarter results, which showed that apart from increased attention from learners, there was improved performance by female candidates. Now to get us into the meat of what the results mean, we do have UBTEB Vocational Manager Jalia Nasaza. Good evening and welcome to Talk of the Nation.
Good evening, Mildred.
Now let us get into these results. How good were they in brief?
In brief, we had an improvement in the performance where we had a pass of 81% of the students who really performed, but of course with different grades. But at least when we look at the performance, the overall performance was at 81%. Yes.
Meaning it was a good one.
It was a good one. Yeah.
And also we saw that the female counterparts performed better than the male counterparts. Yes. Why is that so?
Yeah, well, basically what people need to know is that these recently concluded examinations, we had more of female students because of the programs that were assessed during that period. During that period, we assessed more of programs in business, and it had the highest number of students. And you find that most times ladies tend to want more of those programs, which are business related, like catering, cosmetology, accounting, marketing. So those programs are normally female dominated. Yes.
So does this mean that in the future we'll get to see more highly skilled female learners?
Yeah, we shall get to see them, but there is one thing we need to shift as a country, where people think that these courses are supposed to be for men, these are supposed to be for ladies. So long as someone has the potential to perform a certain program, we encourage people to go in and do what they think they can do. For example, when we get to the other side of the technical side, when we talk about programs like mechanical, like electrical, like civil, we tend to see more of men.
The male.
Yeah, more of the male. When it comes to courses like catering, like fashion, we see more of the female.
Hairdressing, cosmetology.
Those ones. So for us as a board, we think we don't want to tag gender onto the programs, but we feel people should do programs according to their interests. So we encourage people to do any program so long as they feel they have the passion to do them.
Yeah, and we also have a role to play when it comes to mindset change, you know, to shift from thinking that one profession is meant for the men and the other one is meant specifically for the females. But looking at the exams, the rating was majorly based on industrial training as well as practical assessment. What does this mean?
We have, in practical assessment, we have it in 3 phases. We have what we call coursework. These practical students do to acquire their skills. Then we also have what we call real-life projects, where students solve a problem in their community using the skills and the knowledge that they have acquired. Then we have industrial training, where we attach them to a specific industry for them to see the reality of what they are studying.
When you say an industry, what do you mean?
Industry is the workplace.
Yeah.
Is the workplace.
For instance, NTV.
Like NTV, we can attach their students of journalism, even accounting, even plumbing. You can have plumbing systems and what. So they come and work with the real practitioners, and they are able to see and translate the knowledge and skills they've had in class to the reality in the world of work. Yes.
Well, talking about vocational education, there has been a major feeling that this kind of education is for those who do not have, you know, a theoretical appreciation of particular events. Is this true?
Even in vocational education, there is theory, there is knowledge. People learn knowledge. So people should not say that when you go there, you do only practice. But what we have to know is that the world has changed, and everyone requires a skill. So no matter how bright you are, you require the skill. So people should not say it is for those ones who are academically weak like people tag it.
Well,
Actually,
that is the notion.
Vocational education is for the bright ones.
Because you have to use...
You have to use your brain. You have to be creative. You have to think very fast. You have to solve real problems. So this tendency of people thinking it's for those ones who are academically weak, it's a wrong one.
Because they cannot cram the notes.
Not because they cannot cram them, because even in vocational they are notes. They are notes. But the notes are so beautiful in such a way that they are related to the practice. What you do practically is what they ask you theoretically.
So at what point does theory and practical meet to ensure that I become a better, skilled person? Because like you said, we need both of them. Yeah,
because sometimes for you to do something, you need to know why it occurs. You need to know if this happens, what comes next.
You don't just jump into it.
You don't just jump into it. So that's where the knowledge is required. You need those concepts, you need those principles, and also to relate them to what is happening for you to be able to perform well. So people should not think that when you come for vocational education, there are no notes. The notes are there, but the beauty is that there is applied knowledge. It relates to what you're doing practically. So it becomes very interesting and easy to learn. Yeah.
Okay, then talk to us about the plans to expand this syllabus to other levels, such as primary and secondary.
Yeah, that plan to expand this kind of curriculum has already started. And when you look at the lower secondary curriculum, it is really focusing on TVET. And what students are learning now is more of applied. Gone are the days of the geography, where you could study just a map, but now you draw even a map in the reality. You apply it in your life. So I think the trend which we are taking now, we are going to get all Ugandans interested in skills training. So because when you look at the curriculum of secondary schools, is focusing more on competencies. Yeah.
So
what are these people capable of doing with the knowledge that they've learned, which is really driving us into the right direction.
Okay.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges you have encountered when it comes to this kind of assessment, the competence-based syllabus?
The truth is that this kind of assessment is expensive because it requires someone to practice. And for someone to practice, you require the materials, which materials sometimes are hard. You require the equipment, which equipment sometimes some institutions cannot afford. So that is the major challenge. But the beauty with it is that once the student is exposed to this kind of assessment, someone comes out when he's clear of what he's going to do in the world of work. You don't just study just a subject, but you study an occupation. So it is making studying more clearer for both the learners and the employers. Because those days you would take your paper, your certificate to an employer. I have, I know, and the certificate is reading plumbing technology, plumbing science. But now the certificate is reading pipe fitting, sanitary ware maintenance and installation. So the employer first of all knows what the person is employing, what is capable of doing,
yes.
And also the learner knows what he's going to do when it comes to the employment. So besides it being expensive, it has more advantages. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're to look at, this is something that is new, and do we have the trained personnel to actually pass on this knowledge to the students?
The personnel are there because what we have done is we have just repackaged that training to focus instead of just being a side, because all this knowledge we are talking about, all these practicals we are talking about were contained in there, but they were not focused on a specific area of learning. So the instructors we have, we feel they have the ability to still train in this direction, but of course they need some more training, because some of them have not been to the industry, and some of them, of course, that shift it has some bit of inertia because they need to shift and be more practical than theory. So we have that challenge, but we are managing. First of all, as a board, For us, we train them. We normally take them to the industry. We show them what the industry requires. And some of them, when they realize maybe they don't have enough skills, they take themselves back for industrial training.
Now, this direction that we are taking when it comes to competence-based skilling, real-life projects, are we taking a turn to the right direction to see to it that unemployment of youths in Uganda is actually solved as we get to wrap up this conversation?
Yes. Actually, one thing we should know all as Ugandans is that the world has changed. The world is not about papers. The world is now about what can you do. So even those ones who have accumulated papers, you find someone has 5 degrees but is unemployed. Sit back and ask yourself, what can I do from all this knowledge that I've had? So for me, I feel as Uganda, we've taken the right direction. And even we urge even those graduates who have completed, they are still in the street for years and years. Come on.
Still moving with papers?
Yes, grab a skill, add it to what you've learned at the university, and your life will not remain the same. So the issue of unemployment should be history with the time to come. Yes.
If we embrace
this kind of training and assessment.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Jalia Nasaza, for sharing with us. And that takes us in for a short break. When we return, we'll hear from the world of sport.